Hi, welcome to Just Wanna Craft. This is Joan. Today I'm going to be making a 3-wood pumpkins craft. So I start with 2 pieces I bought from Dollar Tree, 2 pumpkins. One you can see has the 2 pumpkins together. I start by kind of taking these apart. I remove the bow and this piece that was holding the 2 pumpkins together. I'm not going to need that, so you can throw that away. I am going to remove this sticker or try to remove this sticker. It wasn't coming off very well for me. So I decided to go to the front and take that sticker off. It came off pretty well, except for one little section, but it's going to be covered up by one of these wall tiles from Dollar Tree. I love crafting with these things. It has a sticky sheet on the back, but once it gets cut apart, it easily comes off. So I'm just lining up my pumpkins how I think I want to put them. Then I'm taking off the tag on the top and I'm going to get rid of that. I'm not going to reuse that. And this raffia bow had quite a thick thing of hot glue underneath it, so I'm just trying to pry it up. Now, I didn't realize it at the time, but I am going to make this the back of the pumpkin. Later, you'll see that it did not stain very well. But here I'm just sanding that last little bit of glue off, setting that aside, coming back to my medium-sized pumpkin and sanding off those holes where the nail was holding the 2 pumpkins together, just so it's nice and smooth. Now I'm using Sharpie here to trace around my pumpkin, and looking back I should have used a pencil because it did leave a blue line around my pumpkin, but I'm going to paint that, so it's going to be okay, you won't see it. So I just cut my pumpkin out and set it there to make sure it's lined up with my pumpkin that it's going to go on. I'm going to use Waverly white paint to paint both of these pumpkins. I use a foam brush to paint this pumpkin because of the raised edges on the tile. I can really push my little sponge down into each of those crevices there to completely cover the tile. So I just kind of use an up and down patting motion to get the paint in there and then smooth it out. Kind of took a little bit of time to get everything covered, but not too long. Now I made a mistake here painting this because I am going to add some little jewels to the outside of this pumpkin, but I did do a coat of white first before adding those jewels on. I did go around the outside of the pumpkin on the sides, just smooth out the paint. And these are little jewels I was talking about. I got these from Walmart. There's a lot on this little sheet, or not little sheet, but big sheet. And I didn't want to wait for my pumpkin to dry, so it was a little messy. I just went for it. And so I'm seeing how many to cut off. It comes on like a clear, sticky line. So I worked in mostly threes, working my way around the outside of the pumpkin. Just kind of laid it out each time and then cut it. But I did end up using mostly 3 at a time. Now at the top, I am just cutting out one to work my way around the stem. Now the little line that I was talking about, that's clear, that holds these together, it easily slides around. So I kind of just push them so they look all even and how I want them to look. And I think actually having the paint on there just kind of made it a little bit easier to slide them. Here is the back of the pumpkin, which I stained first, and the spots where they glued the other wood pieces on top did not stain well. So I decided to flip it over and stain the back. I'm using Waverly wax for this. I put a little bit on and then I take a baby wipe and even it out till I have the whole thing done. Now I had just wiping it over with a baby wipe all over there. I have a few lighter areas, so I decided to come back in with a little bit more and even it out. Just keep working on it till I like how it looks. Then I'm looking at where my pumpkins are going to go. Most of this is going to be covered. I take my sponge brush and I'm going around the outside of the pumpkin to give it a little bit darker paint there on the outside. Here I'm going in with my second coat, going over all of those jewels now. Kind of have to push the paint in there and after the first coat, it's not going to look all that great, but by the second coat, it's going to get covered nicely. And there's my second coat on the tile pumpkin. Painting the outside of the middle pumpkin that's going to have the tile on top of it. That will cover up my blue Sharpie that I got around the outside. Just evening that all out. Now I'm taking that antique wax again, and I'm going to get just a little bit on the tip of my brush, and I'm going to lightly go over those raised areas, going back and forth, getting some more, just the tiniest little bit, and going in with a baby wipe. Some did get on the white unraised part, but that was okay. I liked the way it looked still. I did the same thing to the smaller pumpkin, but I guess I forgot to film that for some reason. So I hot glued the tile onto the pumpkin. Now I'm adding the jute cord around the top of the stem of the biggest pumpkin. So I started at the base and I'd wind a little bit, add hot glue, wind a couple times, add more hot glue. At the top, I cut smaller pieces to fit in. I could no longer, with the stem being curved in a little bit, I could no longer go around. So I just cut, glued it down, used my little makeup tool there to push it down, and then I cut off the extra. Now I'm trying to get these lined up how I want them. I'm using a little bit of wood glue and hot glue so it stays permanent, stays quickly. I used 2 of the tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree to fill in that space there so my pumpkin didn't fall down. Then I'm taking that same jute cord and I'm going to wrap it around the pumpkin a few times. So I started with hot glue on the back, made sure that was holding there before I finally wrap it around. I wrapped around about 5 or 6 times till it was a thickness that I like the looks of. Once I have that wrapped, I gathered it together at the back and used hot glue to secure them in place. Next, I'm making a bow for the front. I took 2 strands and made a simple bow, just like when you tie your shoes, a loop, and then coming around to make another loop through. I shortened each side till I had it where I liked it. First, I thought I'd put it in the middle of the 2 pumpkins, but I ended up putting it in the middle of the smaller one. I liked that better. I secured that down with hot glue. And this craft is done. Here's how it turned out. This is actually a Hobby Lobby dupe of pumpkins I saw on the Hobby Lobby website. Here they are side by side. I think I like mine a little bit better. That's all for this video. Thanks so much for watching.